Hello friends, welcome once again to the part 2 of the series Harmony in Relationship. Let us first have a recap. Now before I start the recap, I will request you to watch this series along with your parents in case you are not married. And in case you are already married, I will request you to watch it along with your spouse. This will help you to understand this whole thing much better. And also, since most of you are SSB aspirants, there also you have to handle relationship and emotions. So these videos will help you to handle them. And when you watch with your parents or along with your spouse, you will understand it at a much deeper level. And in fact, they can assist you in understanding what I'm trying to communicate. So please watch it along with the parents or your spouse in case you're married. So Harmony in Relationship Part 1, we saw the fundamental truth about any relationship is that any relationship is not based on how two people speak with each other or how two people behave with each other, but the fundamental foundation on which any relationship or the health of any relationship is based is on the way we think about each other. And we also saw if there is impurity in our thinking, this impurity affects our relationship, and at a superficial level it may appear to be everything is fine, but at a deeper level there are conflicts, unresolved conflicts, and we must know how to clean this sadavu alu that we are holding inside. Then we also saw when there is disharmony in the relationship, how does it affect all domains of life, whether it is husband wife, whether it is son daughter, whether it is father mother or whatever. All domains of life gets affected when you hold this sadavu alu and it disturbs your harmony. Then we also saw there are multiple levels of relationship, and it starts with your relation with yourself, which is your self-esteem dimension, your relation with the family, relation with the workplace, society, nature, and ultimately the supreme or the God. Then we also saw the various factors that forms the foundation of any healthy relationship: trust, mutual respect, acceptance. So we saw all these things. And then we were to discuss the issues of marriage where we stopped the previous video. So let us take various issues in the marriage that damages the very foundation of the marriage, and it becomes a fragile marriage. We spend so much of money in marriage, theme wedding and all that, and suddenly you find crash lands and the marriage breaks, unlike in the olden days when the Indian marriage used to survive for years and years without any problem. So the current education system itself is a big problem in creating instability in relationship. I will request you to watch the video Indian education system and its impact on life to understand how it is doing it. Anyway, I'll be making more series on this aspect of the issue also, current education system. So our current education system is unfortunately not developing us as a whole. It is developing a part of our intelligence, that is IQ. That also, unfortunately, since it's an rote memory based education system, so our education system essentially does not test our intelligence. It just tests our capacity to memorize and vomit out, garbage in, garbage out. Three Idiot is a classical example of our education system. Three Idiot movie. Then the changing role of women. Now fortunately, our women are getting empowered in multiple ways, and the pace at which our women are changing, and also the parenting towards the girls are changing. There is not appropriate changes in parenting and in the grooming of the male child. The male child is still being groomed in the olden ways. Now, unfortunately, our present generation of males are actually not trained to be compatible with this empowered woman who is today financially independent, who has developed her own sense of security, who is emotionally more stable, not dependent on her husband, and she is more independent to take her decisions. So our boys have to be trained to handle their spouses who are going to be empowered as compared to our dada nadi or our mothers who have been confined to our house and the domestic chores. So that change has to happen. Unless that happens, ego clash will happen. It is like ek myan mein do talwar, and clashes to ho gayi. So acceptance, tolerance, mutual respect, all these things has to be ingrained into our today's males or the boys, so that they can handle this empowered women. So the women's are changing very fast, but the males are still at their old thought process. They are stuck there. So the male, this is what I'm talking, the male attitude. Then the women's financial independence itself is giving them a lot of courage to take bold decisions if the marriage does not go well. So this financial freedom has to come along with more compatibility. Otherwise, on small problems, there is breakage. Ego problems, lack of time at home because of the work commitment, and today the definition of success itself has been distorted. Today, in today's generation, the cup has become more important than the coffee. दोबारा बोलता हूँ, in today's generation, the cup has become more important than the coffee. What is the purpose of the cup? To hold the coffee. What is coffee? The life. So there are our job, our position, our power, our money, everything is the cup. But when the cup itself becomes more important than the coffee, then we get into a rat race to get a bigger and better cup. And sometime in the process of getting a bigger and better cup, we may get a bigger and better cup, but we lose the coffee that's alive. So it's a rat race. So we have to understand that. Lack of interaction because of the technology, because of our involvement with our professional life, WhatsApp, internet, and all those stuff, including TV. Human interaction has gone down. We have many Facebook friends, but hardly any genuine friends with whom we can sit and discuss. So those problems are there in close relationships also. Erratic working hours because of the globalization, because of the kind of open economy and the kind of job profiles that have come because of technology. Somewhere the time schedule, professional work schedule has all gone erratic. We have working hours as per the US schedule, UK schedule. So there is a lot of erratic work schedule, so we are not able to give that kind of a commitment or that kind of a time to our family affairs. Work-related pressure, of course, unreasonable expectation. Now, any relationship will have some basic expectation, but when these expectation becomes exponentially and exponentially and multiplication करके आप demand करोगे, it is not possible for all people to meet your requirements. So your expectation from marriage must be realistic and as low as possible. So everything that you get will be a bonus. But when you increase your expectation beyond the capacity of a partner to give, this will lead to frustration and then disharmony in relationship. We'll talk about these subsequently. Financial insecurity in case one of the partner or both partners feel because the conduct of the other partner, certain kind of insecurity because of the way you are spending the financial planning or poor financial planning. All these things can create a lot of imbalance because after all, what is the purpose of marriage if it is not providing security, sense of security to both the partners? So this can lead to work-related pressures, that's already there. Sleep deprivation because of the erratic working hours, because of the internet technology, WhatsApp and all that. Somewhere our sleep patterns are getting affected, so we'll make videos on this also. Loneliness, you may be there as a family, as a partner, but because of the emotional disconnect, somewhere we are alone. And once that feeling of loneliness comes, it kills you from inside. So, and this is also connected with low self-esteem. When you are not comfortable with your own company, you look for company outside you. So all those things are very complex emotions, so we'll talk about it subsequently. Feeling alone is psychosomatic stress. Psych is called mind, somatic is body. So psychosomatic is there's an increase in the nature of diseases that originally originate from your faulty thinking and then manifest in your body. So this has increased. So psychosomatic diseases because of which mental imbalance is coming, emotional imbalance is coming in relationship, which is affecting our day-to-day function. So I'll make a couple of videos on this series also. Restlessness and loneliness. Restlessness is a continuous state of agitated state of mind where your mind is not at peace with itself. So it creates a lot of internal noise. So internal noise creates a kind of a emotional conflict inside, which when not resolved creates conflict in your outer world. So when you are in conflict in the inner world, it manifests as a conflict in outer world. Lack of concentration because of our distraction and multiple engagement in events, and because of technology, our mind is scattered today. So when the energy is not focused at one point, it does not bear the result. So somewhere we are losing the power of concentration. because of multiple distractions in life. Anxiety disorder, adultery in relationship. Because of technology, it is so easy for us to get into this loose relationship outside of married relationship. When the strength of your own marriage is weak, you look for those components outside your marriage, and because of which adultery happens. So you're not honest, you are not committed in your own relationship. So, and somewhere there is dissatisfaction in your relationship. So you look for those components outside the relationship, which leads to adultery. And once it is detected, it affects the marriage very, very severely. Then skeletal-muscular disorder. This is IT related. People who are in IT, because of the prolonged sitting in front of the computer, they develop such skills which ultimately, affects their body and affects their relationships. We'll talk about this subsequently. So you also would have seen that there is increasing rate of divorce in Indian society, which was earlier not seen so much, and also because of the increased greater acceptance of divorce in the society and the empowered women. So you find if somebody is not able to fit into a relationship, it becomes so easy today to walk out of it. So this is all a mix of multiple factors. So we'll discuss about all these things. And unless you understand any impulse decisions of this nature will have long-term consequences. So unless there is peace and purity and trust and respect, a relationship cannot survive, whether it is a husband-wife relationship or any form of relationship. And you would also know that today Bangalore is known as the IT capital of India, but Bangalore is also known for two other things. It is the divorce capital of India, and it is also the suicide capital of India amongst educated youth. Now, who are these people? Predominantly technical IT wale. So iska matlab hai ki IT people can create a complex algorithm for any problem in the world outside them, but when there is a problem in their own inside or in close relationship, they crash. So there's huge rate of divorce in Indian society because of this phenomena getting manifested too much in the IT industry. So that's a case of concern. Now, through these series of videos, essentially I'll be taking 5 dimensions of our relationship that can have severe or adverse impact on any relationship. So 5 things that can kill your relationship when they manifest in your thinking. Sada hua alu ke form mein, it can affect the way you think about your partner. Now I'm specifically referring to husband-wife, but whatever I'm saying, it can be applied to all other dimensions of relationship, whether it's a professional relationship, whether it's a SSB relationship between a candidate and interviewing officer, or a psychologist and a candidate, or in a friendship where 2 friends develop these 5 or any one of them. So the first one is insecurity. So what is insecurity? How does it affect? So I will make individual videos in each of these, but before that I will also request you to put your comments that how do you think that insecurity in relationship kills the relationship? What is insecurity? How are these caused? Where is it originating from? And how can it be identified, and how can it be addressed, and what are the symptoms by which you can make out that a person is insecure? What are the manifestation of male insecurity, and what are the manifestation of female insecurity and its source of origin? So we'll discuss all those things. Before that, I'd like you to put your comments. Trust issues. Now, trust, we saw, is the foundation of any healthy relationship. In fact, if you ask me, between love and trust, what is more important? I'll say trust is more important. You can have a loving relationship lacking in trust, but if there is a trusting relationship which does not manifest love so openly, it will still survive because fundamentally trust exists. So I'd like to know why today trust issues are coming between a close relationship as husband and wife. You get into a lot of loose relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, and after 6 months, 3 months, 2 years, you leave that, you get into another relationship. Now imagine when you do multiple times these things, it has got a severe implication on the way you built up trust in your subsequent actual married relationship. So we'll see and talk about this. Jealousy is an important aspect which kills any relationship. a married life, in a married life, the husband and wife should be like fish and, but the same relationship, when it becomes like a fish and fisherman, there is a lot of games, mind game that keeps happening. There's an attempt to pull down the other person so that one feels superior than the other. In a war of ego, the loser is the winner, but somehow when jealousy comes, you don't want to lose, you want to win all arguments. But even if you win all arguments, it will be at the cost of relationship. When instead of cooperation, instead of collaboration, when you become competitive to each other with your spouse, it kills relationship. A husband and wife must become two wheels of a scooter. It does not matter who is in the front, who is in the back. It can be complementary. But when you become divergent or when you become on a tangent to each other, that kills the relationship. And all these things happening because the emotional development or the empathy or the emotional intelligence is not being effectively implemented or developed, because of which these factors are coming into relationship. We'll talk about this. Lack of communication. No relationship can survive if there is no honest communication. And honest communication requires certain degree of honesty in communicating what you're actually feeling. But today we have become expert in speaking nicely through our words, in behaving nicely through our action, but not really thinking nicely in our own thoughts. Today, for many of us, our own thinking has become our biggest enemy. My own mind is acting against me. So lack of communication can kill any relationship. Many conflicts can be resolved if two partners are willing to discuss it honestly. A dishonest communication with the intention of put the other person down will kill the relationship even if you win the argument. So that dimension has to be understood. I want you to discuss these things with your parents because they have got large experience of married life, with your friends, and if you're married, with your wife. Be honest in your communication, because if you're not honest in your communication, it will have consequences, long-term consequences. Sometimes it may not be seen immediately, but the partners start suppressing emotions, they start suppressing their feelings because they find there is no point communicating it to the partner, and at some stage it erupts as a volcano and everything gets destroyed. That will be too late to correct it. So lack of communication in today's married relationship, as part of my counseling experience, I've seen that so many small little issue become big because it has not been addressed at the appropriate moment, or even if it has been addressed, it has been addressed only at the superficial level. There was no empathetic listening, there was no attempt to understand what is the other partner communicating, and when it is coupled with your insecurity, you actually block the communication. So that's very dangerous for any relationship. So we'll see that. And then assumptions. When the communications are blocked, we start assuming. And there's a small saying that whether it is human network or mobile network, once the connection is broken, people start playing games. So it can be mobile games or mind games. So just imagine if two couples, husband and wife, or maybe any other relationship, if the communication gets broken and if there are too many assumptions and we act or react based on our assumption, where will our marriage go? Where will our relationship go? So this is an important aspect, and especially when two people are holding sadawalu, you are trying to assume what the other person is thinking. None of us are mind readers. So there's no point trying to read the mind. It is better to communicate honestly. When there is honesty in communication, many conflicts can be resolved. They may be temporary, feeling of guilt, or maybe feeling of little bad feeling ki kyunki hum sach bol rahe. But it is always better to clean that, and even at the cost of temporary discomfort, but then resolve the issues. Unresolved issues, conflict issues and conflicts create disturbance in mind. So all conflicts must be resolved between any relationship, especially in a husband-wife relationship. Now, I will make subsequent series on this once I get your feedback on all these 5 components, and I will request you to watch and discuss with your parents and your spouse in case you're married, and tell me how do you think these will be affecting. And also see if you suffer from any of these problems. Are you a person who feels insecure? Are you a person who is suspicious by nature? Do you suffer from unfair competition, jealousy, wanting to let down others? Are you an open communicator or are you a communication blocker? आपका रिलेशनशिप में क्या कंट्रीब्यूशन है इसको देखो. डू यू हैव द करेज टू confront your partner, your friend, your teacher, your boss, and take out the fact than basing your decisions on purely assumptions. So मुझे इन चीज़ों के ऊपर फीडबैक देना, एंड आप देखना कि इनसिक्योरिटी, ट्रस्ट इश्यू, जेलसी, लैक ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन, assumptions, ये अगर एक रिलेशनशिप में आ जाए तो रिलेशनशिप में इट इज़ बेस्ड ऑन हाउ यू थिंक अबाउट ईच अदर. सो आई लाइक टू नो हाउ डज इट अफेक्ट्स द रिलेशनशिप में. आपका कमेंट जानना चाहूँगा. अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छा लग रहा है, ये सीरीज़, तो आप ज़रूर अपना फीडबैक डालना, लाइक करना, शेयर करना, एंड इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना इफ़ यू आर नॉट ऑलरेडी डन. एंड आई विल ऑल्सो लाइक टू आस्क ऑल SSB कैंडिडेट्स कि कैन यू अप्लाई दीज इनपुट्स in handling the TAT pictures, where it is asked what led to the situation, what is currently happening, and what is the final outcome. And also, when I'm talking all these things, can you apply these things and find out in terms of your strengths and weaknesses, that are these things existing in you or not existing in you? Accordingly, look out your incident from life and see what are your strengths and weaknesses. Then it will become very, very honest and meaningful to you. So I'll request you to kindly post your comments. Based on your comment in the part 3, we will take how does emotional insecurity affect our relationship and also affect our performance in SSB. And because of emotional insecurity, how do you get anxious, or how does your performance get affected adversely, both in terms of your preparation and in terms of your परफॉर्मेंस इन SSB. इन चीज़ों को हम ध्यान से देखेंगे. एंड आई विल ऑल्सो रिक्वेस्ट ऑल बॉयज़ एंड गर्ल्स कि इन केस इफ़ योर पेरेंट्स हैव सम प्रॉब्लम in their relationship, and you find there's a lot of conflict, there's lack of respect between your father and mother, or there are a lot of unresolved conflict, there's always undercurrents in their relationship, please apply some of these tools on them, or maybe ask them to watch it and see how can it help them. So I'll make more series on this, and your honest communication and comments will encourage me to make more videos on this series. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.